Good afternoon. I'm excited to present to the Blockers Academy. I'm Coach Darryl Bullock. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania originally, and played at the dream school that I always wanted to play at, Penn State University. I was on the '86 championship team. I was a defensive lineman there. I knew that I wanted to coach by my sophomore year, and when I did not have an opportunity in the NFL, I got a call but did not make it to camp with a tryout. I got right into coaching. I think I'm a better offensive line coach, and that's I think I know because of my defensive line coaching experience. I have 10 years as a defensive line coach. I've been coaching since 1990, men. It is an honor and a privilege for me to be here today. There is no more important position on the field of football than the offensive line. And of course, I'm damn biased. I got 10 years as a defensive line coach, a couple as a head coach, one as a two as a tight end coach, but 17, 16 years. I'm going on year 17 as an O-line coach. Uh, First thing I want to talk about, we're going to talk about the counter trap play today. I think it's a great play because you're adding pullers across the midline and you're trying to outnumber the defense. There's a lot of things you can do off of the play as well, but we're just going to talk about the running play today. Before we do that, man, you have to have a philosophy. I want to talk about my philosophy. All right, seven do's and don'ts, man, of Bulls, Bears, Proverbs. I'm at Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland. We are in the MEAC, we're an FCS program. We are going to begin here in January. We are playing a winter schedule, God willing, with the pandemic. Our plan is to play a winter schedule. Here are 7 do's and don'ts I have for my offensive line. Lack of effort is a sin, on and off the field preparation. And that includes academics, man. I don't care if you're at the Pop Warner level, the middle school level, the high school level. You must instill, in my humble opinion, you must instill effort on and off the field because you're teaching life lessons. And I think the great sport of football teaches more life lessons than any other team sport is out there. Lack of respect to me, other coaching staff members, and support staff is a sin. So that goes to everybody, even in preseason camp. Not only do our guys take their hats off in the building, they might say that's old school, but they take their hats off the building. They better not be disrespectful to the folks working in the cafeteria and the dining hall. They better not be disrespectful to the folks working in housing and our residential dormitories. All right, it's self-control, lack of respect. All right, and that's a two-way street. All coaches don't treat it as a two-way street. I truly fight to be respectful to my guys. Number 3, repeated mental mistakes are a sin. Lack of concentration is a sin. If we're blocking the counter trap play, all right, and you're the front side guard and you don't know that you have a gap, all right, and then if there's nothing in your first level A gap, you have gap down backer to the backside linebacker. And that's a play we put in day 1, day 2 in preseason camp. All right, and you miss the defender in A gap because you think you have something different. That is a repeated mental mistake. That's a problem. Number 4, selfishness is a sin. This is a team sport. There's no more selfless position than the offensive line. That is the most selfless position in any sport, in my humble opinion. Only stats kept on offensive linemen, not the O-line coaches' stats, are the only stats kept. Official statisticians and the things that come over a loudspeaker by a announcer are negative when it comes to the offensive line. Unless you recover a fumble for a touchdown or a first down, unless you catch a tip pass and advance it for a first down, or some kind of fumble rooski, depending on the state you're in, or tackle eligible play, all right, everything is negative. Holding, hands to the face, and offsides, everything is negative that gets recorded on an offensive lineman. It has to be a selfless position, all right, and we just have to love doing a job well done, all right, without any accolades. All right, number 5, lying is a sin. Off the field, we trust you? It just seems to be, in our culture today, it just seems to be that lying is not as big a deal as it is. It's not that big of a lie. Kind of lied. I didn't want to hurt somebody's feelings. We are an end results profession in sport. All right, you either got it done or you didn't get it done. All right, it's a 11 on 11, and everyone has their individual battle. Did they win their battle? All right, but that also applies off the field. We got to be able to trust each other. All right, we got to know that your word is your bond. All right, number 6, inability to accept coaching and or constructive criticism is a sin. All right, there's going to be times you're going to get coached hard. All right, if that young man cannot accept being coached hard, not me getting personal with him, but me pushing him to be the best. If he can't handle that, then he's going to struggle to play for me and to play in our program. All right, and number 7, being late is a sin. It reflects poorly on one line in the offense. Okay. All right, and there's more things on thoughts on all this in the philosophy. All right, that could be for another day. All right, but just philosophical things on work ethic and things we must do to stick together. All right, Cardinal Principles. All right, hard work, competitiveness, toughness, and intelligence. All right, those are great offensive lines many times, or an individual great offensive lineman. Man, I'm going to get into the counter trap play here. All right, my time is limited. I'm not going to rush, but at the same time, I want to give you as much information as possible. We're going to get right into it, man. This is an example of a counter trap play to the right. Why don't we call it 34 counter? All right, and this is a gap scheme run. For those of you that aren't familiar, offensive line coaches out there, this is a gap scheme run. We are going to crowd the football on gap scheme runs. All right, we're going to be on level 1, which is crowding the football. That means our guards' hands are going to be in the middle of the football. Our guards' hands are going to be in the middle of the football, all right, with their helmet just before the front edge of the football, all right, and our tackles will set off our guards. We are going to crowd the football. We are trying to create a new line of scrimmage, all right. We are not worried as much about movement because our first step, our neck bowed, and our eyes will handle movement, and especially when we're in combo blocking mode, all right, as the right guard and right tackle are here, all right, we must trust our brother beside us and protect our gap at all costs. So on a gap scheme run like counter trap, all right, which is an example that you're looking at here, all right, everything starts up the middle. All right, the center makes our calls in the run game. All right, he starts the identification, as does the quarterback. All right, and the center's call here would be back. He's going to go back. He has backside A to backside B. Why is it backside? Because the play is being run to the right. He is protecting the trapping guard. The guard is leaving, and between him and the left tackle, that backside tackle, they are filling for our trapping guard. So he has backside A to backside B. And you'll see in other examples that he's going to go further back to a 3 technique on the backside. Hopefully everyone understands techniques. This is a backside shade or 1 tech. All right, and he's blocking back on it, and he must do a great job of 1, not allowing penetration upfield because that can knock our trap blocker off. 2, he must do a great job of not allowing that nose guard across his face. Okay, you can see the point of attack on counter trap here is the inside leg of our right guard, the front side guard. That's the point of attack. It can slide out to B gap between the right guard and right tackle. It can slide out to C gap depending on our blocks and what the defense does. And sometimes it can hit that backside A gap depending on what the D line is taught. If they see a puller, are they taught to be low-level linebackers and try to cross face on everything? All right. It can end up sometimes hitting backside A. And man, let me say this, offensive line, you must do a great job of emphasizing backside blocking. Backside blocking leads to long runs and touchdowns. I learned that early on as a coach, and I firmly believe it. Backside blocking leads to long runs and touchdowns. All right. So many times, if I lose patience, it's because of lack of effort on the backside. Okay. Center has backside A to backside B. He starts our calls. All right. And you can see the trapping guard there. The left guard is trapping. That is a trap right, block right situation. He is going to flip open with a 45-degree step with his right foot. He is pulling into the line, and this is trap right, block right. This is a right shoulder block. We want to be inside out of the D-gap defender, which pre-snap is that Sam backer there. All right. Pre-snap is that Sam backer there, men. All right. He wants to be inside out of them. And what the center through the tight end must do a great job of is protecting that line of scrimmage. They must do a great job of protecting the line of scrimmage. All right, of protecting the line of scrimmage, men. All right, so he can pull into the line and be on such a great angle that the only thing that Sam backer and D-gap can do is take him on with his inside shoulder, and he will not be able to spill our guard, all right, and force or bounce this run outside. But the initial landmark is the inside leg of the guard. Why is that important? O-line coaches, all right, you might not be the run game coordinator, all right, but you must know what the initial aiming point is for the running backs on all run plays. When you have an inside leg of the guard aiming point for this tailback, the H here, all right, the beauty of that is, all right, is now that holds that Mike and that Will backer there. They just can't, unless they're blitzing, they just can't come flying in their gaps. All right, they must honor that tailback, although he's heading to the A gap to the right, they must honor that he can cut back, slide out, he can do other things with the ball, all right, because his hips and shoulders are going to be fairly square after he takes two counter steps away. All right, so now, all right, let's go back to a concept. We talked about the center having backside A to backside B. The tackle, the left tackle, is the seal player. He has backside B gap to backside C gap. That's a seal hinge technique there. He will step down in B gap. All right, punch with his inside hand, his right hand. If there's no defender in backside B gap there, he will hinge on a 45 back to the C gap defender. The center and the left tackle are feeling for our puller, the left guard, on 34 counter here. All right, understand, all right, you have a kick player on all counter traps. The kick player here is the left guard. This is how you teach it, O-line coaches. All right, you have a wrap player. The wrap player is the fullback who is in a weak alignment there between the left guard and left tackle. He should be as tight as possible to the double team of the right guard, right tackle, to the Mike backer. All right, he is the wrap player. He wraps for the front side, inside backer. All right, and the seal player is who's ever sealing the backside. Now, understand, our quarterback on almost all our run plays at Morgan State University nakeds out the backside. It sets up our naked fakes. It sets up play actions. He nakeds out the backside on almost all our runs. We could be in gun, and he would still be coming out the backside. All right, and that helps block the backside defender, the backside defender in C gap, or the alley defender, all right, who is responsible for reverse boots, all right, and anything that comes backside. Anybody that must contain all backside runs, all right, or the quarterback on pass. All right, so understand there's a kick player, which is the left guard here. There's a wrap player, which is the fullback. There's a seal player. In this example, all right, it's our left tackle. All right. Now on the front side, as we said, our right guard has A gap, the gap between the center and right guard. Our right tackle has B gap, the gap between the right guard and right tackle. The tight end has C gap, the gap between the tackle and tight end. understand, all right, we make our calls, and our calls are related to the backside linebacker, which we call the declare. You see that will linebacker there, all right? Combination blocks on plays like counter trap. We combo on the front side between the right guard and right tackle here, for this example, to a backside declare linebacker, all right? We're a big splits if we're not working with anybody. So remember what I said earlier, man. All right, we're on level one. We crowd the football. All right, our guards set the depth of the line. The center starts the calls, and then our calls work inside out. Because we're running to the inside leg of the guard, the center's call has first priority in the run game, and then our guards working out. All right, so our guard calls, he makes his call, which is a combination block between him and the right tackle to the backside declare. Now, coaches, I like to use different calls on inside and outside zone. I have one type of combination call, all right? On counter, on our gap scheme runs, counter, power, I like to use another call, because what I've learned over the years is when you're not working, so the right guard and right tackle aren't working to the mic. They are working to the backside linebacker. So because of that, to clear things up, I like to have a combination block call used, all right, that has them. It could be a C word for counter. It could be a P word for power. It could be a T word for trap, but have combination calls between your center guard, all right, your guard tackle, and your tackle tight end that lets them know we are working to the backside linebacker. The other thing we do, man, so say that will backer's 53. All right, we're gonna make a club. Let's call this a club between the right guard and right tackle. Club to 53 should be the right guard's call, and the right tackle should repeat it. Club, 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 club to 53. 3-foot split by the right guard to widen the 3 technique and widen the initial run lane. 6-inch to 1-foot split for our right tackle. All right, and we gallop down. All right, you can down block down on that 3 technique, O-line coaches, but we gallop down as the covered lineman. So the uncovered lineman is the right guard. All right, nothing in his A gap. Now he has gap down backer responsibilities. All right, so nothing in his A gap. We don't just want to run to the will backer. He will help if there's something on his outside shoulder or something lined up near him. He will help to the second level, his second level responsibility. So there's nothing in his A gap on the first level, which is the D-line level. All right, so now he will help, all right, the right tackle, and let's just call this a club block to 53, the declare, that will backer. Hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder, ass to ass. All right, we should have one flipper. I prefer the flipper versus the outside hand by that right guard, man. It's more power with the flipper. All right, the flipper of the right guard, the gallop or where we're punching the hip, or the down block of the right tackle. We want to be square on these blocks. Even though I'm saying down block, it's a flatten up 6-inch step by the inside foot, the left foot of that right tackle. All right, we want to be square to the line of scrimmage and square to this 3 technique, hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder, ass to ass. All right, our right guard, if the 3 technique goes straight ahead, man, his eyes should be able to direct the right tackle on who's coming off to that will linebacker, that backside linebacker. We do not want to come off on the backside linebacker until we can touch that defender or we feel he's a threat to the play. All right, so if that will were to scrape and come underneath, which is in that A gap, the right guard will come off, only when he can touch him. If that will stays over the top and goes outside the 3 technique eventually, then the right tackle will come off late. All right, we make you and me calls, you, me. I'm going, I'm off. Those are the calls we make on combo blocks, all right, in this situation here. All right, but the perfect combination block is to take that 3 technique, all right. The right guard's responsibility is to try to stand him up initially, all right, and to keep him from knocking back the line of scrimmage, the right tackle's responsibility is to not only help knock him back, but to knock him over, all right, on this combination block. All right, and our perfect combination block is to take that 3 technique and put him in the lap of the will where we don't even have to come off. All right, so our tight end is responsible for C-gap. All right, and in this example here, all right, C-gap, there's a defensive end and a 7 technique in C-gap. That's I call that a 7 technique. Some of you might call it a 6-eye, inside alignment of the tight end. He is down blocking on that. He is trying to get the top of his face mask on the bottom of the inside number. If that player wore 90, he's trying to get the top of his face mask on the bottom of that inside number, that 9. Why? Because the initial aiming point is the inside leg of the guard, inside of him. He's trying to gain leverage on that defender. All right. Depending on the front, sometimes we make a call down the line to the left guard, the trapping guard, to let him know what type of alignment that he has that he's going to trap block on. All right, depending on the look. All right, you see, again, a quick review here, men, and we'll look at another example. On every counter trap play, there's a kick player. In this example, it's the left guard on, say, 34 counter. Why 34? Because the 4 is telling you, even number is telling you we're running to the right. All right, 34 is telling you the backfield action. All right, so our right guard, our left guard is the trap player. Trap right, block right. This is a right shoulder trap block. All right, our fullback, all right, is the wrap player. He is wrapping around the double team tight to the Mike backer. Our seal player is the left tackle on the backside. Now, both our left guard and left tackle, they have trash to their responsibility. So the left guard has trash, or what I call first trash, to kick out of the D-gap defender. The fullback has secondary trash, all right, to wrapping to the Mike linebacker. So if anything leaks through on their way, all right, and it's in their way, they have to take it, they have to blow it up, all right, they have to try to put it on its back. All right, forget that D-gap defender if something leaks in A-gap or something leaks in B-gap. The 3 technique, for some reason, splits our double team. Same with our fullback. Same with our fullback. Our running back coach, Coach Smith, I believe he calls that a swab technique for them. I talk about trash, he talks about swabbing. Swabbing on our way to on the fullback's way to the mic. All right, that's an example of counter trap to the right, 34 counter. Another example in an underfront. Now the double team, no concept, the concept has not changed. The center still has backside A to backside B. If that will backer cheated up before the snap of the ball and blitzed that backside A gap, the center would block him. He would never even get to the backside 3 technique. Why? Because he's got backside A gap to backside B gap. And if you ask a player who asks why a lot, why would he block the will in backside A instead of the 3 technique in backside B? Well, on his blitz, I could not get back to the 3 technique, and the point of attack is the inside leg of my brother at right guard. So I knew that the most dangerous play on this gap scheme run was anywhere in between the 2 A gaps. And I know my responsibility is backside A to backside B. I also know my brother at left tackle has my back on his seal block of the 3 technique. He won't even hinge back if that will backer blitzed the backside A on the snap of the football or started creeping up and timed it up and got in the center's way. That is backside A to backside B. You still see the same thing with the trap player. He's still trapping D-gap. That's trap right, block right with our left guard. No change there. All right, you'll see now this time our right guard has something in his A-gap. He's going to down block on it. The same description I gave the tight end in the first example. He must fight to not allow penetration and also fight not to allow for him to cross our face. All right, so he is fighting to get his head, the top of his face mask on the inside number of that nose guard. You see now our fullback is wrapping wider. He's wrapping around the double team on the 5 technique outside the right tackle. Now our right tackle, as calls work inside out, he makes, let's call this a cut call, a CUT. We're cutting to that will backer, the declare. He tells that tight end, cut to 53, cut to 53. They're going to double team to 53. He controls the eyes of that combo block because he's only taking about a fourth of the man, depending on the alignment of that 5 technique, if he's tighter to the tackle or wider to that right tackle. The tight end, that man is essentially in the tight end's gap, and that tight end will gallop down in there, as I described earlier with the tackle. It's a 3-step movement. We're going to explode into the hip, all right, on that movement, and it's a very effective technique. All right, again, everyone has gaps. No change in this play here. All right, now, I want you to look at another counter play here. Remember, if you remember the concepts, my O-line coaches, or anyone that's on this call listening or watching this video, if you remember the concepts, then you can run counter trap a lot of different ways. My only suggestion to you is this. So if you now run counter trap, pulling your guard and tackle, all right, you call it something slightly different. So say that first example was 34 counter. All right, this might be 34 OT counter, letting the fullback and letting the tackle know he is now pulling, the left tackle is pulling, so the left tackle and the fullback are exchanging responsibilities. Remember what I said, O-line coaches, you have a kick player, that's the left guard. Now the wrap player on 34 OT counter has switched. It's now the left tackle, all right, and now the seal player is now the fullback. All right, that is the seal player now. He will be through the inside hip of that left tackle. It should fit right outside of him, blocking the C-gap defender. All right, and the beauty of this, man, is it sets up play action where the fullback is acting like he's going to block the end and slips in the flat. It just sets up a lot of things. All right, to be able to run counter both ways, really advantageous. All right, so this would be more of an example of 34 OT counter. All right, nothing else changes. Or we're exchanging the left tackle on the backside and the fullback. They exchange responsibilities. Now, one difference here, the left tackle, when he pulls, all right, because the fullback is high, he is heels at 4.5, heels at 5 yards. All right, he is high and he can adjust pretty good to the guard on that first example of 34 counter, when it was the guard, the left guard, and the fullback pulling. Here, when it's the left guard and the left tackle has to take a bigger first step, whereas the left guard is going to flip open with his right foot on the 45. All right, the left tackle would want to take a 90. He'd want to, on his second step, he'd want to have his hips and shoulders just about facing the right side of that, the right sideline, the line of scrimmage to the right. I mean, the sideline to the right. All right, he'd want to be a little deeper than the guard. The left guard still has first trash, all right, to trapping D-gap with his right shoulder. The left tackle has secondary trash, all right, and he wants to have his left foot in the brown spot of the left guard. So he wants to be a half a man deeper upfield than the left guard, because if the left guard has to block trash, the left tackle shouldn't get caught up in it. And now the left tackle is going to end up replacing the left guard and trapping the end of line of scrimmage, that D-gap defender, all right? And now the running back is going to have to either get caught up in the trash. I mean, the Mike will either get caught up in the trash or the running back will make him miss. All right, we got to take care of first level defenders first. All right, second level defenders afterwards. So if there's any kind of leakage, men, with our trap blocker, the left guard, all right, he must handle that trash if it's in his way, all right, and it could affect the play. He must handle that trash on his way to trapping the D-gap defender. All right, and now the left guard, because he's a half a man deeper, is not on the same level as the left tackle. The left tackle is not on the same level as the left guard. Now he, all right, can assume the responsibility of the left guard, all right, in trap D-gap. So the left guard is primary trash or first trash. The left tackle is the secondary trash, and he wraps to the mic if there's no trash for him to block. So if everything is right, it'll look like the picture here, all right, with the left guard trapping the D-gap defender. All right, the left tackle is wrapping as tight as possible around the outside hip of the right tackle. You must make a big emphasis, and even with your fullbacks and your running back coaches, O-line coaches, you must make a big emphasis about the wrap player wrapping as tight as possible around the double team to that Mike backer, as tight as possible. We don't want that Mike backer, if he doesn't want to take us on, all right, we want him to take us on in our parking lot. We don't want to play him in a parking space. All right, I'm old school. We want him to be in our phone booth. All right, we do not want to play with him in a parking lot. We want to take him on in a parking space or stall. All right, so we must be as tight as possible, that left tackle, all right, to the outside hip of the right tackle, so the Mike can't do anything but have to take us on and try to run through us. All right, so that is example of 34 OT counter. And don't forget, man, you should have a different name for it. All right, it's very important you have a different name for it. All right, to indicate that the tackle's pulling now instead of the fullback. All right, even though our quarterback nakeds out the backside, one of the worst things that can happen, all right, is there's confusion between the left tackle and fullback on who pulls. All right, and now you have three pullers and no one's sealing the backside. Not good. It's happened to me before in the game. Not good, man. All right. Let's look at another front here. Here's an odd front. Here's a 3-4 front. All right, what we call Okie. It's a 0-2-4s. All right, the will is in a stand-up outside the left tackle there. What we do is we identify 3 down at center, and then we'll determine who's the 4th down lineman. In this example here, our center should call that will what we call the big, the 4th down lineman. All right, so he'll call him the big. It's more important in pass protection than it is in the run game, but we're going to do it every time. It's a mechanic we'll use every time. You don't want to identify and pass, but not in run, because defenses will catch on to that eventually as you get going during the season. All right, they'll catch on to that, and they'll know when it's pass, and they'll double call you and have a run defense and a pass defense call with some kind of blitz or something. All right, because the center or the quarterback only identifies when it's pass. We're going to identify every time. We're going to identify that declare, but we're also going to identify with 3 down the big. So again, same example here. All right, if our center is athletic enough to do it, we would love for him, after he snaps the football, to punch with his right hand on the second step. Just punch the nose on his way out, and he should be nice and flat to that 4 technique. All right, that's a dose look. 1 on the left tackle, 1 outside. Call that a dose look with the guard with the guard uncovered. The left guard is uncovered. We call that the bubble. All right. So we want that center to be as nice and flat as possible. If he's not athletic enough to do it, O-line coaches, then it's that right guard's responsibility to be in a 6-inch to 1-foot split and have a great down block on the nose guard. All right. But if the center is capable, have him snap on the second step with his right foot, punch as that right foot hits the ground, and keep working back to the 4 technique. Of course, with that dose look there between the end and will, they must be aware of the fold scheme. So the center and fullback are really working in concert now. They were before, but they really are versus this odd front. The double team is still between the tackle and tight end. Let's call that a cut. All right, and then you see the trap and the wrap by the left guard and left tackle, with our fullback kicking out the backside, fitting off the center, fitting off the left tackle and then the center, and our quarterback is going to keep someone honest. All right, and remember, all right, this is important. to be able to play action off of this as well. All right, to be able to naked off of this is important as well. All right, that is one of the important things in making this run effective as well. All right, one other thing here, you said you've only seen this play going to the right. Well, let's look at it quickly going to the left, all right? And then we're gonna look at a little film. So here's an example of 35 counter. This was the original counter play I talked about, men. All right, 35 counter here. All right, this is now going to the left. It's right guard and fullback. In this situation here, all right, in this situation here, all right, the tight end stayed home on the 9 technique, all right, but the tight end could be down in your offense. He could have front side C gap to keep it simple, all right, and then he would end up, climbing, all right, to the Sam backer there, all right, but understand the tight end stays home here in this example. All right, the left guard is now climbing to the strong safety because we have an 8th man in the box. The fullback is now fitting off him and wrapping to the Sam. You see our double team, our club between the left guard and left tackle to 51, the Mike backer, the declare. He's the declare because that's who the front side combination block goes to. All right, the center is blocking back on the backside 1. All right, and because they have us outnumbered up front, all right, you can make it any call you want. This is a choke call. You have a 4-eye with an overhang outside. The quarterback, remember, the quarterback nakeds out of the backside. All right. So if there's an 8th man in the box and you don't have an RPO on, all right, you got to leave one. And if you're leaving one, you want to leave the backside C gap defender is the one you want to leave because someone must honor him. Someone must honor that quarterback. And if they don't, you can take advantage of it in another play. All right, that's just another example, another way of blocking the counter play. Again, I just wanted to show it to you going to the left. All right, here's a look out of it versus the bear front. This is what I call cub, it's 7-man bear. All right, our center would make a call indicating that it's bear front, that we have the A gaps and both B gaps. We have A gap covered and both B gaps covered. So our center would make a call to say 3 down, but he would also indicate that it's a bear front by a call we make up front. All right. And he would call both the right guard and the right tackle down. But their rule is the left guard has A gap, the left tackle down. The left guard's rule is A gap on his gap down backer rule. All right. If nothing is in his A gap, then he helps to the second level. Well, here he has something in his A gap. It's a 0 technique on the center. We don't know which way that 0 technique is going. So the left guard must assume that that's his man. All right, the center works back on the backside 3. We still have seal hinge by our right tackle. Our left tackle is down on the 3 technique. All right, again, all right, as a change up in our philosophy, all right, we might stay home on this defender, and that tight end will get in a big 3-foot split. Open up the run lane. Yeah, the run lane is still the inside leg of the left guard O-line coaches, all right? But open up the run lane, all right? And when you keep that tight end home, there's a change up, all right? Now, that Sam backer that's in D gap there, he can't get the running way upfield or constricting the gap, the hole. Big split, all right? C gap bubble, tight end stays home. Now, I'm not telling you have to do this. You can keep it simple with your tight end and keep him in front side C gap and have him climb, all right, to that backside declare. All right, if nothing blitzes or hits his front side C gap, you can have your tight end climb to that jack backer on the backside. In 3-4, we call him the jack. All right. As a change up though, we keep the tight end home. Our guard, instead of trapping, we have 2 wrap players now. He now wraps to the mic, and now the fullback, after taking a step forward, all right, 1 that helps him get in alignment with his right guard. 2, all right, that helps him to clear the quarterback. All right, and now he is wrapping to the jack backer, whereas normally the fullback would have that mic on the front side there. So I just wanted to show it to you going to the left 35 as well. All right, one other thing I like to show you here, all right, before my time is up, I want to show you a little NFL film here on the counterplay. Now, this is going to be a little different. It's Arizona Cardinals here versus the 49ers. Kyler Murray being the player he is, say you use your quarterback in the run game a lot. Okay, well, let's look at it. So now the quarterback is the seal player on the backside. So now you have your quarterback acting as the seal player on the backside. Your guard is still trapping. I like that left guard a little bit more into the line of scrimmage. He traps. That fullback or tight end, whoever that guy is, this might be 12 personnel here. That looks like a tight end type right here. All right. He is wrapping for the front side backer. Counter out of gun. Quarterback, instead of nakeding out the backside, now he just comes out the backside off the handoff out of gun. 34 counter. Great seal hinge by the left tackle on the backside. We'll see an end zone shot of it. "12 personnel. 81 is a tight end type. You'll see in the NFL, almost all you see is galloping. So that covered lineman, you're going to see shuffle steps, gallop steps by that right tackle coming down. That is a really nice example, my young O-line coaches, my experienced O-line coaches, of gap down backer. Watch the tight end here. Front side C gap, climb, little duck demeanor at the end, get your body under control. 54, you got to come to me. You can't do anything, all right, but come to me. I'm not going to allow you to fake me out. It's a great path. His angle of departure, that tight end's angle of departure on gap down backer through a C gap, that's beautiful. Not bad on the center, on his back block, not bad at all. Cuts off penetration, doesn't allow him over the top. It's a one-on-one street fight. My favorite player on the O-line is the center, man. He makes the calls up front. He's smart and he's a tough guy. It's a one-on-one street fight between all 5 of those linemen and the tight end and the fullback, but the center more than anybody, it's a one-on-one street fight. All right. Let me see. I want to show you one example. I think I got time for 2 more plays, Coach Burke. There's I think I got time for 2 more plays here. Let me show you. I want to show you the OT counter now. So you saw counter, which was guard fullback or guard tight end out of 12 personnel. Now I want you to see OT counter. All right, with the guard and the tackle pulling. This is an example of 35 OT counter. Left tackle misses, right tackle misses wrapping to the linebacker. This time, your seal player, remember the concept, O-line coaches. You have a trap player. In this example, on 35 OT counter, it's the right guard. You have a seal player. In this example, it's the right tackle. He's sealing to the front side backer. You have, a wrap player, and that's the right tackle. The seal player is the fullback here, but he doesn't collision the defensive end outside the right tackle. Watch what he does. He's still the seal player. That defensive end still has to honor that. It's effectively a block. If you run an RPO system, run pass option system, off of your run game, if you're a heavy RPO, you can have that fullback in the flat. Center still blocking back. Didn't gain a lot of yards here. We're trying to average 4.5, 5 yards a carry. Not a good job on the center on the back block. He goes too far. He's got to get a little bit more upfield as he's working back. It's a nice job by that nose guard. Watch the gallop by the front side left tackle or the right tackles. We're looking at the screen here. The only thing I teach with that left tackle is hands to the hip. I'm not saying that the O-line coach for the Cardinals doesn't teach it. We really emphasize punching the hips. We emphasize punching the hips a lot in the run game, O-line coaches. All right, because if that guy is strong and has great leg strength and is breaking squat records, all right, in his weight room at his high school, his middle school, all right, if you're squatting in the middle school, all right, you punch the hips, you straighten the leg up. It's just an anatomical fact. If you punch that hip on that 3 technique over the left guard, you're going to straighten his leg up, all right, and now he loses some leg strength. All right, that's all part of what the gallop is all about. But look at how square that the left tackle stays to the left guard. They are fighting to stay hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder, ass to ass. They don't get movement, but at least they displace him inside. They don't get movement vertically, but they get movement horizontally inside. Even without the block, the wrap block of the right tackle, all right, now, I don't think he's trying to cut. He just missed. We don't cut on inside running plays. That's just my philosophy. I'm old school O-line coaches. We don't cut on inside running plays. If it happens every once in a while, and you know why the O-lineman did it, because if he didn't do it, that was the only way he was going to get the block done. What I would say in my meeting room while we're watching film is, all right, great job. All right, of getting the block on that play, but don't ever do it again. All right, so on inside running plays, we don't cut. On outside zone and plays like that, we will cut. On screens, we're cutting. Backside of outside running plays, we're cutting. All right, so even though the right tackle missed here, we still have a chance if the center gets his back block. And look at the double team. The double team is supposed to be working to the declare, who's 56. All right, 56 right here is this declare. This double between the left guard and left tackle is supposed to be working to 56. Because he's worried about Kyler Murray, if you have a running quarterback, look what that does to 56. So even in a 20 personnel scheme, you can still run counter OT trap and run it effectively. Men, the thing I love about high school coaches, and I don't know if that will be the majority of the audience here, the thing I love about high school coaches, men, and I've been a head high school coach one time, and I've been an assistant once. The thing I love about high school coaches is every year might be different. Your neighborhood might bring different things to your Pop Warner, your middle school, your high school team every year. And the good ones learn how to adapt with the talent they have. And there's no better adapter than the mushroom coach, the O-line coach, who might have some of the lesser athletes on the team, all right, but they're tough, they love the weight room, and they just want to play ball. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to assume and say, oh, and they're big. No, they just want to play football, all right? And they don't want credit for their job, all right? They know if the running back's untouched, the quarterback's untouched, they're doing their jobs. That concludes my presentation, men. It was a great honor to present to the Blockers Academy. The great state of Ohio is a great football state. I'm biased. I'm from Pennsylvania. I think we have a great high school football state, but I've recruited Ohio. I lived in Ohio briefly in Dayton, Coach Burke, and it was a great honor. Hopefully, I'll be back at some point in time to give another presentation, but it was an honor and a privilege, man. Thank you, Coach Burke. Thank you, Blockers Academy.